I'm Terry Murphy, Senior Editor for Realty Times, Women in Business, Women in Real Estate, and In the Men's Room with Murph. And today I have a spectacular man in the men's room. His name is Ryan Young. He's the CEO of Fello. That's F as in Frank, Ello. I got to hear him give a presentation, and I thought, where have you been in our real estate lives, Ryan? You're active. You have a whole team. Tell us a little bit about your team and where you work and how this came about.
Yeah, so I licensed agent for the last 15 years. So I got licensed in 2009. It's probably the worst time to actually get your license in the real estate industry, but we made it work. And started growing our real estate team. And now we're fortunate enough that we have an incredible team. We have 15 salespeople or agents on our team. We're based out of Northeast Ohio. We sell about 500 homes a year. Almost 200 million in volume. And in Northeast Ohio, as you can imagine, our price points aren't the highest. So we work really hard to keep them up around that $400,000 average. And just super grateful. One of the things I love about our team is we've always been very listing focused. So we're normally 60 to 65% listings compared to 35% buyers, 40% buyers. And, we just have an incredible organization and I'm proud to lead it.
Well, that's so good because listing has been something. I wrote my first book, E-Listing and E-Selling Secrets, so I'm all with you on the listing thing. And you've got, this real estate thing's in your blood. Your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your grandparents, everybody's been in it. So you were kind of a natural. But what you came up with was particularly significant to help agents help the consumer. And that speaks to our core values, especially as you presented at the program I was at. So tell us a little bit about Fello, what it does, and how you came about with this information.
Yeah, so we've always been listing based with the young team, and we started actually doing this guaranteed sale program where I ended up starting to buy homes. And the purchasing of homes became really profitable. And it got to a point where I started running a separate business alongside the young team called Flash House. Flash House's entire mission was to ultimately acquire properties to help people sell their homes easy, convenient, in the fastest way possible. And Flash House started to become a really big business in Northeast Ohio, where my real estate team is. So now I'm running two companies simultaneously, the real estate team and the buying acquisition company, Flash House. And what was interesting was we started seeing people from the young team going to Flash House and actually requesting cash offers. They didn't know that I owned both companies, right? So we all of a sudden started seeing a lot of our past clients and people in our databases going to a completely separate company and raising their hand and saying they wanted to sell their home. And all of a sudden, Flash House became kind of a threat to the young team, although I owned both companies, which people didn't know, right? But if I didn't, all of a sudden it would have been a threat. We would have been losing people in our database going to another company because of this messaging, cash offer, et cetera. So it made me realize, what do we need to do with the young team to actually educate, to communicate, and through automation, getting in front of our database, the homeowners in our database, to letting them know that we can help them get their home value. We can get them a cash offer. When they're ready to sell, we can help them with that. We can provide them options. And so we created Fello, really spinning off of a way that we built this automated database incubation play within the young team. And we saw it create a lot of traction with the homeowners in the young team's database. And we said, wait a minute, why are we just doing this for the young team? This could apply to all agents all over the country. And so Fello is this database engagement platform that really focuses on marketing automation and really focuses on helping agents in our industry first discover the homeowners in their database and then start to market to them to get them to raise their hands when they're ready to sell their home. And, within 2 years, we have about 2,000 teams on the platform. We work with the biggest teams all over the country, over 400 of the RealTrends top 1,000. And it's just kind of taken off like wildfire. And I think the reason for that is us as agents over the past 10, 15 years started to build these big databases of buyer leads, right? There's never a shortage of buyer leads. You can call Zillow and Realtor.com and Homes.com and all these other sites. They're willing to sell you as many buyer leads as you want. And then we put them in our database and we kind of just forget about them, right? If they don't respond to our first call or text, we just move them into somewhere in our database and we kind of let them just go in there to die. And Fellow started to create all this engagement and start to create all this kind of shaking up the database. And we started to find out that a lot of them actually own homes. And all of a sudden, what are we doing once we find out that they own homes? How can we start marketing to them? And it created just a significant amount of awareness on the homeowners that are actually in our database and a massive amount of engagement that is helping agents all over the country generate more listings out of their database.
Isn't that great? Here's the transition. You and I are talking about it off camera, and that is that the market has been so fast in the last 10 to 15 years that it's not been necessary to buy the cow, because the milk was just coming in.
100%.
And if you go back at all, because you said you started in 2009, I also started way before that when interest rates were bizarre, and yet people wanted connection. And they're looking for a trusted advisor, and they're looking for resources.
Yeah.
And, we as realtors think people wake up every day and go, gee, I think I'll just check with my realtor and see what the property's worth or what's on the market or who's like mine. And here you've created this beautiful relationship that's loaded with value to connect with those people.
Well, and here's the challenge, and this was why Zillow became one of the biggest disruptors in our industry, was when they came up with the Zestimate, right? That was the first place where homeowners it was the first mainstream place where homeowners felt like, this is really fun. I can go see what my home is worth in real time. Well, the challenge with that is if they're going to Zillow to check their Zestimate, you potentially could lose them as an opportunity because Zillow is ultimately trying to sell those people to another agent, right? And so if we can build in, and Terry, I think you're so spot on with how do we provide value, right? We leverage the home value a lot, but we leverage other messaging as well as a way to get in front of homeowners in our database. But if we can continue to provide value and bring value to the homeowner or the consumer or the contact in our database, what we found is it's much more likely that when they are ready to sell, that they're going to give you a shot, or they're going to call you, or they're going to give you an opportunity.
It comes to mind, like I said, they don't wake up thinking about you, but if they've had a good experience, and they feel like they know you, especially if there's a variation in the way you're following up. Well, Ryan, I admire what you've done because I've been around real estate for a really long time. And this is just a beautiful way to establish and reignite and revitalize a relationship long after they've needed you. And we know that life changes every day. People need real estate, as they do with food, shelter, and clothing. So if somebody wanted more information about Fello, where would they go?
The easiest place is to go to hifellow.com. That's HIFELLO.com. And you can get all the information, or if you want, you can reach out directly to me, Ryan at hifellow.com.
So your mom did a great job of raising you, because clearly you've come up with something that's going to be of value far beyond your knowing. I'm so glad you joined us. We're going to have to follow up pretty soon just to see how things are evolving, because you and I both discussed how fast real estate changes, and trust and confidence and connection are the keys. So thank you so much for joining us. Join us for another episode of Hi Fellow with Terry Murphy here at realtytimes.com. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Terry.